You know that feeling when your mind is just a complete mess? Like it's either this super crowded, noisy room where you can't hear yourself think, or it's the exact opposite, completely empty, eerily quiet. Well, it turns out that's a super common feeling. And the good news is, there are some really powerful ways to navigate that inner world. Today, we're going to explore two of them, and it all comes down to a simple idea: the mirror and the window. So I want you to just take a second and ask yourself right now, which one is it for you? Is your mind that noisy room just buzzing with 1,000 thoughts, worries, to-do lists, all shouting over each other? Or is it that quiet, empty space, the one where you might feel a little disconnected, maybe even a bit alone? Because figuring out which one it is, well, that's the key. It's going to point you to exactly the right tool for the job. Okay, so what are these incredible tools? Well, they're probably things you've heard of: journaling and poetry. But the way we're going to think about them is totally different. We're going to use this amazing metaphor. Just think of journaling as a mirror. It's all about looking inward, right? Confronting what's actually there and trying to find some clarity. On the flip side, we have poetry. And poetry, that's our window. It's for looking outward, connecting with this huge, shared human experience and realizing, hey, I'm not the only one. And this is so important. This isn't about picking a favorite. It's not one or the other. As the saying goes, they are both essential for the soul. You absolutely need both. The mirror helps you figure out and build who you are, and the window, well, that helps you connect that person to the rest of the world. So with that, let's start by taking a long, hard look in the mirror. All right, Section 1, the mirror. This is all about journaling, but not just as a diary. We're talking about using it to actively build yourself. So at its heart, what is journaling? It's what we call an output practice. Think about it. You take all that swirling chaos, all that mental static inside your head, and you pour it out onto the page. You give it structure. Suddenly, you're not just lost in the mess, you become the narrator of your own story. You get to turn those messy, confusing feelings into something that actually makes sense. It is, quite literally, a way to declutter your own mind. And get this, there is some incredible science that backs this all up. It's a principle called name it to tame it. It's so cool. Basically, when you actually write down and label a difficult emotion, like I'm feeling anxious or I feel rejected, you actually change what's happening in your brain. You fire up your prefrontal cortex, the rational, logical part of your brain, and you dial down the activity in your amygdala, which is basically your brain's panic button. You are literally physically calming your nervous system just by finding the right word. Okay, and if that wasn't wild enough, the effect is also surprisingly physical. This is not just some feel-good mental exercise. There was this one study that just blows my mind. They took patients who were about to have surgery, and one group journaled about their feelings. The results? After just 11 days, 76% of the people who journaled were fully healed. The other group? Only 42%. I mean, that's just incredible. It proves that organizing your mind can actually physically heal your body. But, and this is a big but, there's a real risk if you only ever look in the mirror. If you don't have any outside perspective, journaling can become a trap. You can get stuck in what's called a rumination loop, just staring at the same problems, thinking the same negative thoughts over and over and over again. And that is exactly why we also need a window. Okay, on to our second tool, the window. And this is all about poetry. See, if journaling is how you build yourself, poetry is how you connect that self to everything and everyone else. So reading poetry is an input practice. It's the total opposite of journaling's output. Here, you're not creating anything. You're just receiving. You're letting in this concentrated wisdom from somebody else's mind. And what it does is it gives you a vocabulary for all those subtle, complicated feelings that you know you have, but you just can't find the words for. It's like someone hands you the perfect word on a silver platter, and suddenly you feel understood. And that moment of connection, wow. Sometimes it hits you like a thunderbolt of recognition. It's that incredible feeling when you read a line of a poem and your whole body just goes, yes, that's it. That's exactly how it feels. It just completely shatters that illusion that you're the only person in the world who has ever felt this specific joy or this specific pain. And guess what? Just like journaling, poetry has a direct physical benefit too. When you read rhythmic poetry, and this is key, especially when you read it out loud, it actually activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's basically your body's built-in rest and digest, or chill-out mode. And some studies have shown it can be even more effective at slowing your breathing and improving your heart rate than some of the breathing exercises we're all told to do. It's literally a rhythmic reset for your whole system. Okay, so now for the big twist. We've seen how powerful both the mirror and the window are on their own. But here's the thing, relying on just one of them, well, that's a trap. It creates this serious imbalance that can totally stall you out. So let's just break this down side by side. You've got journaling, the mirror. It's all inward focused, right? Its goal is clarity, and it puts you in this analytical, problem solving mode. Then you have poetry, the window. That's outward focused. Its goal is empathy, connection, and it puts you in a much more receptive, thoughtful state. See? Even their health benefits are different. Journaling gives you those long-term stress reduction wins, while poetry can give you that immediate sense of calm. They really are two different tools for two very different jobs. And this really gets to the heart of why only using the mirror is such a trap. When you're only journaling without that fresh air coming in from the window, you risk creating what psychologists call an insular self. It's like you're stuck on a tiny island, all alone with your own stories, just going over the same thoughts again and again. You need that window of poetry to come in, smash that feeling, and remind you that your story is just one small part of a much, much bigger human story. So the big question is, how do we avoid that trap? How do we actually get the best of both worlds? Well, the answer is simple, but it's powerful. You don't choose. You learn to use them together. And there's actually a name for this practice. It's called poetic journaling. It is exactly what it sounds like, a hybrid approach that bridges that gap between the window and the mirror. You're basically using the window to change what you see in the mirror. And it is such a powerful way to get around your own usual thought patterns and find insights you wouldn't have found otherwise. And you can start right away, because the method is so simple. Here it is. Step 1, just pick a poem, any poem. Step 2, read it and find one single line, or even just a phrase that really jumps out at you. Step 3, use that line as your starting point, your prompt, and just write for 5 minutes. No filter, no judgment, just write. And here's a pro tip, Step 4. As you're writing, try to use what are called insight words, words like realize or because. It's fascinating, but research actually shows that using these specific words is linked to having bigger psychological breakthroughs. So really, when you boil it all down, it comes to this beautiful idea. You let the mirror, your journaling, teach you about yourself. And then you let the window, the poetry, remind you why that self, the one you're getting to know, is so absolutely worth knowing. So I'm going to leave you with this. As you go about the rest of your day, just check in with yourself. What's going on in there? Does it feel all chaotic and crowded? If so, maybe it's time to pull out the mirror and find some clarity. Or does it feel a little quiet, a little lonely? Well, maybe it's time to open up the window and find a connection. So the question for you is, tonight, which one does your soul really need?